man. Hey, good evening, everybody. I don't know, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what I want to do with this channel, really. Really don't know, you know? Really kind of confused about it. Don't know what I want to do with it. I mean, what all would you like to hear about, you know? I do watch a lot. I've been watching a lot of YouTube lately, and I realize, you know, I've been watching that a lot more than I watch, like, you know, any streaming services. So I'm really thinking about, you know, just canceling my streaming services and saving the money and, you know, doing more with my money than I do by saving on that stuff in the future. I mean, I've been watching a lot of, like, Caleb Hammer lately about, you know, financial audits and stuff like that. And I know if I went on his show, I would definitely be, he would look at my portfolio and be quite disgusted. And I guess, I know I look at my own stuff and I'm not really all too happy with my own stuff. I do know I'm in recovery. A lot of people who know me on Twitter know about that. Like, I have, you know, I was looking at my thing earlier, and I think, like, I'm almost to, like, 5,000 days sober, believe it or not. That's pretty crazy to me, because, you know, like, when I first got clean and sober, I didn't really think I'd be able to get clean and sober. And then, you know, 9 years into being clean and sober, my wife passes away tragically. So, and then it's like you have to pick up the pieces afterwards. And somehow over the last 4 years, I've been able to keep my sobriety. And I haven't had a drink or a drug since. And that's, I guess, pretty remarkable in itself. See what else has been going on. I know that I told you that I would basically do some videos on some stories of, you know, my profession, like all the crazy things that I've come across over the years with doing real estate over the years. And I'm thinking about maybe, like, I would like to start doing more of that. I haven't really, you know, done another video on that lately. I know I did one video on that completionist drama, and I guess, like, you know, that's such a hot topic, you know, and everybody's, like, basically watching everything they can about that, you know, that even my shitty video was getting, like, views on it. I looked at it earlier, and it said, like, I had, like, over 600 some views on that video, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty nuts. So, yeah, anybody that's basically doing anything on that is getting a view on that. It looks like they're all, like, scrounging for the bottom of the barrel, because, my video wasn't all that great compared to everybody else's that's come out. And yes, I am basically doing a video while I'm driving for, you know, like, if somebody, you know, wants to make a smart ass comment about that, because I did get a comment on one of my videos, you know, that, hey, yeah, you're driving, and I'm sitting there going, like, yeah, it's not like a new concept. Like, there's a Jerry Seinfeld show where it's like called, like, Comedians in Cars, and he drives around while talking to somebody with a camera, like, you know, on the windshield, talking to people. So it's not really a new concept. I have my phone, you know, like, it's hands-free. It's not like I have it in my hand, you know, screwing around with it while I'm driving doing a video. So why anybody would get all bent out of shape about that, I don't know. So, yeah, so anyway, let's see, about 4 years, yeah, it was almost like 4 years ago, I guess, because, I believe it was like the first time I went to Vegas. Like, I remember I was talking to my mom, who is also a realtor, and she had given me a lead one time. It was a rental lead for one of her properties, and I told her, I was like, look, I mean, I don't really want to work with renters anymore. I mean, like, and she was like, well, like, you must be high and mighty about, being able to, pick and choose what clients you want to work with, or some shit like that, and blah, 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 about how she thought it was ridiculous, like, that I wouldn't work with renters. Because, I mean, like, my whole argument about it was, that it seems like working with renters is a lot more work than just working with buyers. And not only that, but it seems like a lot of the renters that you come encounter, that you encounter over the years are like, I mean, I'm nowhere to judge anybody's like mental capacity or, their mental health or anything, but a lot of them are just really, really unhinged. And so, I didn't want to work with these people. And I mean, like the house that she was, that her rental was, I mean, it was like, I think it was like listed like $2,900. And I mean, I would have got like, I guess, for doing a rental, it depends on the agent that you're working with. But, like back then, a lot of times, like if you did a rental, you'd, if you did a rental with an agent and you put somebody in a property, a lot of times they would give you like 52% of what like the first month's rent would be. So in that case, it would be like over $1,400. Nowadays, it's like, I mean, last year I did a rental where the company gave me like 25% or something, like a quarter. So it all really depends on who you're working with. And so after a while I thought about it, and I gave the person a call, and I decided I was going to work with them. I went and I showed them the property. They liked it, and they were telling me about how they really didn't have any credit history or something like that. So I was like, okay, well, what are you paying at your place now? I mean, is it like, similar? And they told me it was, and the reason why they were moving was because like their daughter had been like abducted by somebody or something like that in the neighborhood. So they really wanted to basically get out of the place that they're at. And I was like, okay. So they didn't have any rental history, so I basically told them, I was like, okay, well, I know for a fact that the person that's renting this out, it's not like a wealth management company or anything. It is a singular landlord. And what we'll do is, like, how about this? Like, when we put together your application, like, come to my house and to pick up the applications and stuff like that. And when you do that, like, during the process here, how about you basically print out like a copy of your rental history of all the payments that you made towards of the place that you're living now. That way, like, basically, like, since you have no credit history, that we can use that as a form of being able to show what kind of tenant you'll be. Oh yeah, that'll be great. So anyway, so I can't remember if I gave them the application when I was there or if they came by to get it. I think they came by to get it. No, wait, I gave it to them when they were there. That's right, I gave it to them when they were there. And they were supposed to, come by and drop it off at my place. And I don't know what was up with them, because, like, whenever they were supposed to come and meet me at my house to go and give me their applications or anything, they would take they would tell me that they'd be there in like a half an hour, and then they wouldn't get there for like 2 hours or 2.5 hours. And I mean, that was like it's so disrespectful, like, because I mean, you're making me wait for like 2 hours for you to show up, and it's like they were acting like I had no life, and it was really fucked up. So anyway, so they finally show up with the applications, and they give me a bunch of, they give me the paperwork that is supposed to, be the proof that they need, that they're good, that they're basically good tenants. And so, like, I'm going through the packet, and I don't see anywhere in there about like their payment history towards where they're currently living. I did see that there were like 2 letters, and there was one letter that the lady had written on like loose leaf paper about, like her daughter like being abducted, and that was the reason why that they wanted to move, and blah blah blah. And like there were like 2 letters of basically that they put in there that were saying that they had filed report, like basically filed with the courts to try and sue their landlords on whatever. And I'm like looking at this, and I'm like, what the hell is this? This isn't what I asked. And they also gave me, like what was it? Like a social, like basically like a partial, like a partial like W-2 or something like that, to show how much like the husband had made over the last like 3 months or something. It was all really odd. So anyway, so I pass this on to my mother, who's the other agent on the deal, and she passes on to her person, and her person's like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Like, I mean, there's no credit report. There's nothing here. There's nothing about whatever. Like, there's a couple letters in here about them suing their former landlords. And they told me, like, she told me to basically get in contact with the people to try and find out what was going on, to try and make this thing, So anyway, needless to say, what it looked like to me in this situation was that these people were basically trying to weasel their way into this place and basically like move in. And in Maryland, we have a thing called squatters' rights, where like if somebody moves in and it could take them like 6 months to a year or even longer to get these people out, even though like it's owned by the landlord. So what it looked like to me, and it looked like in this situation, was it looked like that these people were basically trying to get accepted into moving into this place because like they had to, because like I guess like maybe the sheriff was about to like get them out of the place they're at now or then, and they needed to find a new place to hop into, and so they found this listing to try and do it to, and they thought that they would basically get like some unsuspecting realtor, to get them to like do an application, and then like basically get them in, and then when they finally got in, that they would basically not pay anything, and that they would be there for 6 to 12 months or 18 months or whatever. Like we knew of a case where people had moved into a foreclosure, and they lived there for 3 years before they were able to get them out. So who knows? Who knows what was really going on? All we know is that these people were, shady as fuck. And so the landlord comes back, and I guess I guess it was a good idea that I had said all this stuff to put this in there, because it basically put like it shined a light on who these people really were, And so the landlord was like, yeah, I'm not renting to these people. And so I told the people what had happened. And then, like, I thought that was the end of it. And next thing I know, like, about 2 or 3 months later go by, and the friggin' lady calls me up or whatever, and she's like, yeah, well, can we get our application back? Like, it has, like, my husband's whatever on it. So, like, to, I guess, basically use the application for another thing. And I was like, yeah, sure, come by and get it. And they told me that they would be there in a little bit, and like a half an hour or something like that. And then I'm like waiting there for another time. I was like, they had me waiting for like 2 to 2.5 hours again. And finally, like, they show up, and the husband looks at me and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry we couldn't get this to work out, and blah, blah, blah. And he was like laughing. And I just told him, I was like, get the hell off my property, pretty much, It was just like, what the I mean, like, at that time, you're not my client anymore, and I don't want anything to do with you. And you basically, like, are wasting my time. You already wasted, like, 10 hours of my time with your crap. And, I mean, you should have came and got your stuff, months prior, instead of having me hold on to it for whatever. And for whatever reason, you wouldn't let me, drive it out to you. You always had to come to my place. And then whenever you'd try and come to my place, you'd always take your, like, motherfucking time. Oh, like, well, we're eating dinner. We'll be there in like 20 to 25 minutes. Okay? And then I'm like looking at my clock, and they're still not there, like within an hour. And then all of a sudden, like 2 hours, they finally show up, and I'm just like, and then the guy just wants to basically like sit there and laugh, and he thinks it's funny, and I don't think it's funny, I mean, I work hard, and I work hard for my money, and my time is my money, and like, you had me waste my time doing all this stuff for you. And then when it came down to it, like, I mean, you were just nothing more than a time waster. And my mom still talks about these people to this day. Like, we still talk, and she's like, yeah, I guess that was a bad thing that happened. So yeah, these people were, absolutely fucking crazy. I have no idea what was going on with them. I don't remember what the lady's name was. I think the guy's name was Pat. And I remember them sending over like a credit report with their application and stuff like that. And literally the thing said like, has no credit history or something. I'm like, wow, okay. What is this this is not gonna help me. This is not what I asked for. Like, I asked for you to provide documents to help me help you get into a house, and with rentals, I mean, that's what they do. Like, they want a credit report to basically show whether or not you're a good tenant or not, because I mean, so many people in the past have abused the system where they thought they got a good tenant, and then tenant goes in there, ruins the place, or God forbid, like ends up squatting there or whatever. And there's a reason why that these things are in place now. So basically, like, I mean, back then, like when we were with a different brokerage, I mean, like, if you provided your own credit report, you didn't have to pay for an application fee. But now, I mean, anywhere you go, I mean, if you try and do a rental now, I know I have a lot of people, complain that, that they have to pay, like a $50 application fee. But, I mean, that's just the way it is. So, anyway, if you don't want to pay an application fee, then I guess, try and get a mortgage. And a lot of times, people don't realize, that they can basically get a mortgage for the same price that you're paying for, that you're doing rent. And not only that, when you're doing a rental, like, I mean, it's not even going towards your credit. Like, it's not like the landlord, sends that off to the credit bureau or anything. So you're basically paying, 100%, like 100%, fee. So the people, that are complaining, about, like the mortgage rates being like in the 7s this past year, or the 6s or the 7s, like after they had been in the 3s, or I even had a lady get like 2.5 like 3 years ago. That, that when in reality, when you're doing a rental, I mean, you're paying like 100% mortgage rate. So anyway, so these people, they came in and out of my life, and I had never heard from them again. I can't remember what the lady's name was. I do know that they had like 2 or 3 kids, and I mean, I wanted to help them out, and I gave them the tools to try and do it. But I mean, if you're gonna basically give people like a letter of, stuff of your, like in your past, like saying that you tried to like sue your landlord twice, and you think that that's gonna go over well with, trying to get a house to rent, no, I would say not. So just a little future warning: if you have that in your plan, don't waste your time. But I mean, if you have like little no credit, and you're afraid of of being turned down or whatever to try and get into a place, that's just my suggestion for you. Like, I mean, just if you're trying to find a place that's like current to where you're at now, and just like basically print out documentation, receipts of your payment history of what you paid, like through your bank or something like that, and just to basically prove, that you are, like, I mean, you might not have the credit, but you have, the payment history to back it up. And that way you'd be able to get more of a chance to be able to get accepted for whatever than you would if you basically hand in a damn a credit report that says that you have no credit. So anyway, this video is getting pretty long. I know I've been talking long in the tooth. I have more stories to talk about in the future if this is something that you like hearing. I do like talking about, real estate stories. They are kind of funny and they are kind of fun. Yeah, if you're basically looking to buy or sell real estate in the state of Maryland or Pennsylvania, my information will be in the description below. And with that, I know we are coming up on Christmas Eve if you celebrate it. Tonight is Friday the 22nd, so I know Sunday will be Christmas Eve, and then Monday will be Christmas. So if I don't do a video before then, I hope you all have a happy holiday and a Merry Christmas. So anyway, have a good night. Bye-bye.